Kwa mara ingine na wasalimu hamjamboni. Kwa hivyo ni matumaini yangu kwamba nyote mjambo, pia mimi si jambo, na nashukuru Mungu kwa hilo. Kwa hivyo naomba tuwe na muda mchache kwa ajili ya mafundisho ama masomo ambayo tutaka kuwa nayo kwa wakati huu, kwa nafasi jema hii ambayo tumeweza kuipata. Na kwa hivyo kabla ya yote naomba tuweze kuomba, na natumai Mungu atatupea mwongozo wa kuzungumza, kwa maana leo nahitaji kuongea na vijana kuhusiana na jambo fulani. Kwa hivyo tuombe. Tunakushukuru Baba, unaishi mahali pa juu mbinguni, wakati mwingine mwema, jioni njema twaja kwako tukiwa na wingi wa shukrani. Tunasema ni asanti Baba kwa kuwa umeweza kutupa wakati kama huo ambao sio kawaida, ili imechukua na imegharimu upendeleo wako mkubwa sana. Endapo kuzungumza na wanao ambao ni vijana, naomba kwamba uwezo wako mtakatifu ukae pamoja nami, kaniongoze, kanitumie, kanipe hekima kutoka mbinguni na kunufaisha wanao. Kafanikishe kila jambo kwa kupitia Kristo aliye mwana mkombozi, naomba pia na kuamini. Amen. So, I thank God for the good chance that He's given us. In fact, it's a wonderful privilege to have. May say that I have a short of period to speak to youths concerning some burning issues. Each and everyone maybe have a past role considered in one way or the other, but you've maybe made a decision knowingly or unknowingly. May say that as youths we are surrounded with a lot of things around us, many of which makes us to make maybe a mature decision, but the aim of us all is reaching that very goal. So for the interest of those who maybe might not be familiar with the language, that is Kiswahili, I'll just be using English or Kiswahili where possible to try as much as possible to benefit all the groups. So, as I say, my name is Ken, and you'll be following, kindly follow on my YouTube channel. Just go subscribe. This is a message, it's inspiration ones. It's like a mentorship. Just if interested to follow me and to see me on this platform more and more, and in future dates or in any other time, just subscribe, like and comment. I'm a very social person who can approach any issue to anyone and in a very polite manner, and most importantly, according to the guidance of the Word of God. Much welcome. Today I want us to speak on a very small thing, that is the four fundamentals of the fundamental principles that a youth who is maybe intending to enter in a relationship which leads to marriage, what he or she should consider. I think before starting the fundamentals, may say that we have different stages. We have the stage that is the first stage, we call it childhood. The next stage is youthhood, and the last stage is what we call adulthood. Among those stages, you realize that the most challenging and the stage that is termed with a lot of responsibilities and the carefulness is the stage that involves the youthhood. Who is a youth? May I say that a youth is someone who is young in age, young in many other things, and young even to the level of decision making. When you talk of a child, you have nothing to do with decision making, you can't make wise decision. But you now, this is the period now you become, you are almost a mature person. But for another day's lesson, we'll subdivide and talk on every level, so that but our interest just we want to major on that very stage, that is the youth old stage. May start by saying that among the fundamentals, we have 4 strong ones that we should, or that we ought to consider, especially when we are interested in entering in what we call courtship. Why say courtship? Many think that you just sleep and wake up and dream of marrying and then you marry. No. One thing may say that we have a period that we call the period of friendship. That's a very interesting period. This is the period now you are allowed to make friends with as many friends as you can. Interact with as many people as you can, make friends, joke around, but not in excess. But there is, after making friends, there is that very one person that you see, hi, even if we were making friends, I can now lay my seriousness to this very young lady, or a young boy, or a young man, and now be somehow interested to this person. That is now we call a courtship. May say that many youths marry when in friendship, forgetting that they should marry when in courtship. What is the difference? I would say that during friendship, during that period of friendship, you have nothing of serious. You have nothing of you can't blame anyone. For example, when you have a friend of yours, he can either hope to assist you or not, because he or she is just a friend. But when you come on a courtship, somehow serious matter. That way here you hear of cases of most of youths who don't have that close relationship with God. They even used to beat their girlfriends while dating, or while in their period of friendship, by the claims that I called her, she never responded. We agreed to meet at a given place, she never reported. I give, maybe I bought her a phone, I just call, I find that he or she is busy. Those are the things that are not there in friendship. When we talk of courtship, that is a period like we say that, for example, in the Bible, we say that the story concerning Joseph and Mary, you realize that the Bible reckons that Mary was betrothed. To be betrothed, in a simple language, is like saying Mary was booked. So that is the period, a very interesting period. I think each and every young man, you never know, even maybe, each and every young man aspires to reach that point that you own a person, you own a person like 80%, only 20 remaining for that person to report to her office that is the homestead. A very interesting thing. So the period of courtship, this is a period whereby you get to be serious on whatever he was joking about. Maybe he was joking, I love you, but in courtship, now this is where you get serious. That is where you try to see, is it surely true that this girl will have this and this characters? Can she make a mother? Can this young boy make a father? That is the period. So I want us now to see 4 fundamentals, principle to check on, especially when you are dreaming on thing or on courtship. One, before naming them, I would say that these are things that you should look. And by observing and marking or giving a tick to every aspect, you realize now you are ready for marriage. I'll just analyze them, then I'll explain one after the other. There is something we call mentality. A girl or a boy who is dreaming of forming a courtship that will automatically lead to a marriage, he or she should be I will start with the men. May I start with mentally, socially, physically, and spiritually. As I've analyzed them, may I start with mentally. What we mean by being mentally mature? I'll advise young boys and young girls, don't, and again I say don't, engage yourself with a childish aspect when it comes to mental measurements. When you say of a mentor, we say that a young boy or a young girl who is dreaming to enter in marriage should be mentally mature enough. Mental. How can you know that person is mentally mature? Because these are four things that a boy or a girl that is dreaming to form a couple should be mature on or mature in mentally. Marry a girl who maybe have interacted, especially as you'll be finding me to lessons when I'm speaking of the current situation of all economic situation, because I do speak of such things, how the economy, the standard of living, the inflation and whatever. Marry a girl who knows those aspects, who have dealt with money, who knows there is the time of getting and the time of constraints. I won't use that term constraint. Constraints comes when you are likely in need of using maybe more than you don't have, but still there is a limitation that you can't acquire what you want, but the situation still requires you to afford what you are in need of. I don't know if you will understand me, but maybe say, for example, what I talk of constraint is that you in need of 100 bob, you have 60 bob, and the situation you are in requires you to have 100 bob, yet you don't have any other source to get the remaining 40 bob. How do you deal with such a situation? There are those that will collect the 60 bob and throw it away, because the same as the life of maybe come to an end. I want 100, I have 60 bob. What will I do? Many will think they should throw away the 60 bob. I mean, giving this example and you take it lightly, but it have a great impact on the family setup. There are those that will say, hey, surely I was in need of 100 bob. I have 40 bob. There is no any other possible way to get, I have 60 bob, and there is no any other way to get 40 bob. What will I do? May I tell you, though there are some situations have no way out, but when seriously looked upon, they might bring may I say they might bring some light. For example, you might have gone to someone and told him that you are in need of 40 bob. He or she told you that she don't have, or he or she can't afford 40 bob. You just went back. But this person who is grown mentally will go to an extent and think of the factor that have constrained. He or she will think, now that I'm in need of 100 bob and I can't afford the remaining 40 bob, what will I do? Can I squeeze my expenses from 100 to 80? Yes. Now if I can squeeze, where can I get the remaining 20? You realize whoever said that he can't afford the 40, who knows? The probability that he or she can afford the 20 is very high. I think that by that my point is at home. Secondly, you realize that education, that is the studies, the real studies. Some ignore studies. I'll be talking on education as a factor to consider when choosing a spouse. We will be following to the next maybe another time when I secure such a chance. May say that some disregard education, but may I tell you, education rightly acquired helps one even in decision making. You visit, you realize that the ones that have interacted with the world of studies, maybe they have encountered difficulties in maybe calculations and in maybe some difficulties of sciences and in calculation. Those people will have their minds expanded. You can't tell me someone who have maybe done or who have maybe performed a given science had come with a project and defended it. Maybe someone who have defended before defending, someone who have come about with a project, defending it in a panel. You can't tell me that that person is not mature. That person have that capacity. He can come with an idea in a family setup, and probably he or she can defend it. You can't tell me that someone who have maybe done some reconciliation can fail. The reconciliation, for the ones who don't know, you will follow me on the next phase, that is when we talk of academic things. Reconciliation maybe to the ones who specialize in banking and whatever, you realize reconciliation is whereby you are given a balance sheet. Balance sheet is stating that this is the amount that should be in the customer's bank, and the bank have its own bank account or the bank statement. The bank and the balance sheet, they are they don't have the same value. But you realize after reconciliation, you have to find out where did the problem aroused. So you can't tell me such a lady or such a gentleman can fail to bring some reconciliation even at a family setup. Another thing, you might say that I'm much speaking about education. No, to the society level, or to the level of, or to the level of where we come from. Find a lady who you have ever heard. How does he deal with the situation? For example, a report comes that she was insulted. How does that lady, how does that young man deal with such report? When she is maybe intimidated, how does she deal with those situations? When she have nothing to operate with, or we call them you allow me to be using some of the terms that I'm used to. That is the requirement of the cost of production. When you have nothing to spend, yet he or she have to survive, how does she deal with such things? At the society level, how does she deal with the upcoming issues? Such lady or such young boy should be looked upon. How mental capacity, how at what range, at the capacity that he or she possesses. That's what we call mentally mature. Someone who can be told that slap me, yet can think and know, yes, I can slap you, but this and this can follow after the slapping issue is over. That is one aspect. The second being is what I called social. Before moving to social, I may say that you find in a family setup, someone who is not mature, maybe you being I've just flashback, or I've just come back or shifted back to the issue about mentality, because it's a strong point to consider. You realize where you as an husband, when you are not around, this lady can't deal with the issues like maybe you are the young one that you have. Maybe the young one becomes sick. You met the young girl that you brought there for a wife. They are all crying. The baby have fainted, and the lady is also even around, or even almost to faint. But you shouldn't. That means you have two children in your house, only naming or only considering one as the mother of the other, which is very wrong. I think that by now that point is at home. The second thing my say about social. This is an aspect to consider in marriage. May tell you why hate not the consideration of the social aspect. If they are not rightly considered, might say that you not be forming a marriage, but you be forming a court. I know many have not yet understood. You will not be forming a family where there is the husband and the wife helping each other to reason out, but to be forming a court, where each and every time there will be the church elders, village elders coming to settle your cases. Why say this? No matter how rich you are, you can't live with a person who is not mature enough when it comes to social matters. Social matters involve someone who knows, regardless of what, this is my husband. Remember that you might be working in a given organization. Maybe take the simple one that you are a teacher and you've married. You are a teacher and you've married your wife. You realize that there is a very big difference between a profession and the family issues. Remember, when you're in your profession, you'll be working with your team, and you maybe during the time that you are leaving from school to home, you'll not work alone. You'll be joined by some other beautiful ladies, and by mistake, remember one day your wife will meet you and ask you, you thought I can't understand what is going on. You ask him, why? What is happening? The ladies that we're working with, they're the ones that you want them maybe to replace me. Something of that sort. And that is totally immature family. You can't survive. Maybe even before entering into a marriage in practical, you realize that you can't drive a common you can't reach a common destination with a person who is not socially active. You can't set any business with someone who is not socially mature. You start a business, you've married a lady who does not even know to interact with people. You realize you are expert in matters dealing with the business, but you'll be just receiving some report that, hey boss, nowadays I can't I normally don't buy from your shop. Why? I was insulted, I was maybe threatened, or I was maybe all those sort of things, maybe by your husband or maybe by your wife. So my fellow brothers, youths, consider the factor of marrying someone who is mature as a serious factor when courtship and marriage is concerned. The third point, or the third issue, is the issue concerning the physical maturity. Many wonder, then what about the physical maturity? May say that I remember once upon a time, because I've maybe I've been engaged in different youth seminars. I remember one patron telling us that no matter we are not youths are not you are not considered not fit for marriage simply because you don't have money or you don't have what. No, even the physical structure of the stature itself is not allowing you. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that there is time for everything and there is maturity for everything, even the bond stature. You realize that the patron told us that even if you are a boy 19 years old, you are given everything, you can't still stand to be a man. Why? Because you'll be marrying a child like you. So that house will be the house. It will be like a room appointed to be the room of the children by the parent. Why? Because the husband who is there have not matured physically to fit for husband. I mean not necessarily you be with beard, but I mean the stature itself should be somehow masculine enough. Why masculine? I think according to our traditions, men, not even traditions, men have been always seen and as taken or given the responsibilities of security. Not that we say that we are going to secure. We know that families are just bought and secured by God, yes, but there is that security, the warmth of the family. That if you speak in that family, it really brings sense that somebody was speaking. That is the hand of the family. So, about the women or the ladies, consider don't go and marry a child. Even the government will, you will be penalized or maybe jailed for marrying a child. What if now, yes, you will not be jailed, since maybe you have married someone who is past 18 years. But what I'm trying to say is that even if you are, whenever you are trying now to engage a girl in family matters to be a mother, just consider even the body size. Was she able to carry the loan? I will not call it the loan, but the pregnancy, or you will be having a child carrying another child. Can you imagine of a very small child, girl who is not physically mature? You can imagine of what we call a protruding stomach. Her legs, even her legs, can't afford carrying the weight of the baby. That is a shameful thing in the society. Just consider you can maybe date a girl when she was maybe not that mature physically, but the moment you think of a marriage matter, remember it is a serious thing where the couple should be whole-rounded persons, physical aspect being also considered. The other thing I'll speak, and the last thing, is about the spiritual aspect. When we talk of spiritual aspect, may say that I've mentioned it being the last, but it is the first in everything. May I tell you that no matter how educated you are, no matter how maybe you how improved that you have, or anything that you have, may say that having the divine connection is the greatest thing to have in a family setup. Have a wife who can just remind you on prayers. Have a husband who will be, I will say that, who will be the elder, or I don't I'm just I don't want to use the name pastor, but may say will be the evangelist of the family. The father who will wake up early in the morning, call the family for prayers, make prayers, When each and everyone reports back, maybe at evening, the children are back from school, who can still collect the family and give them the word of God? Who can still offer advisory? That is spiritual advisor. When there is dispute in the family, a father who loves God more than he claims to love you. Marry a lady who have some divine connection. Marry a lady who maybe you are far away for work, who for the masses of heaven can't imagine cheating in the relationship. Marry a lady who have uplifted God than she have uplifted you. Marry a lady who knows her worth, especially in connection with the spiritual matters. Marry a lady who will just prepare you for the church. And I think the last the last comment on that, I think I'll be clear enough. That is why the Bible speak about marrying someone who you share. I don't know how it will sound, but try to marry someone who you share the same belief. Yeah, you can't be a Christian yet marry a Muslim. On Friday, she will be preparing for the service, and on maybe you are a Seventh-day Adventist. On Saturday, you'll be hanging around without an help of anyone, because yesterday on Friday he or she had her service. So how will she just help you? She'll just tell you, do what it's kind of you and live for the church. So, my fellow brothers and sisters, I know you might find it, maybe costly, or the wasting of time following these things that I'm talking. But may I tell you, in one way or the other, I know they will help you. I know one day you'll say, surely the subscription, or the subscription I did to that YouTube channel is not in vain. The bundles I spent, it's not in vain. And why do I offer all these things? Not that I don't have anything to do, no, but I know at the end of it all, this thing will be touching the life of some of us, and will be at a good place, maybe even when it comes to decision making. When it comes to decision making and some other aspects that are there in this life. So may I wish you well, especially the ones that are in this very critical period of courtship. I'll be explaining more on some other chances that you'll be having on how attentive you should be in this day of courtship. Which hour should you court? What should you consider in courtship? What should you promise? You know, some have started, most of the time some behave like, I think I will not be wrong when I say some of politicians, get me with some of, they promise what they don't do. You promise a wife that after this and this time will be doing this and this, but only to find that those who are only he was just inviting her to the world of utopia, the world of fantasy. That is the world of imagination, but that should not be so. So thank you very much for being keen to that lesson about the 4 fundamentals to consider for courtship. That is the mentality, the mental aspect, to young boy or a young lady to be mentally enough, mature enough We've looked about the social aspect, to be mature enough in the social being, to be mature enough in physical aspect, and lastly, the spiritual. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being a part of me, and I know your support, your hunch to listen will take all of us far. Thank you very much, and have a blessed time as you make all those